You guys can see my screen, yeah?
No.
Okay, let me share the screen now. You guys can see the screen now.
Yes.
Good. Okay. So you guys are graduating from here, inshallah, in 6, or some of you might graduate in a year after that. And I'm hearing some echo, so if you can turn off your mic, that would be great. Okay. So you will start applying for jobs everywhere, in every location, in everything available. And finally, alhamdulillah, your effort got done and you got a job interview. What are you supposed to do in the job interview, or what do you have to do in the job interview? Good. First of all, who's going to interview me? When I get a job interview, who will I see in that job interview? In normal big organization, you will meet most probably 3 different kind of people. You will meet the HR, somebody from HR. You will meet somebody who's going to be your manager, and you will meet a co-worker, one of the guys in the team. That's how most of the big organizations do it. In some other smaller company, it might be a little bit different, but it's not a big deal after all. What matters is you got the job interview. Good. So what every one of those guys want from me? Good. The HR guys, usually they don't have the decision making. They need to know if you can fit in the organization. They need to know if you are a proper person, no red flags, nothing scary about you, nothing wrong about you, you're legally paperwork, blah, 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 can work in the company. Sometimes the HR guy will call you for the interview before you actually meet your manager. So you'll have 2 interviews, sometimes at the same interview. So the HR guy will technically ask you general questions about, are you legally allowed to be work in this country? Can you move? Can you do this stuff? It's not a big issue. You will have your manager. Good. Either your manager or somebody that's going to be supervising you. The manager need to make sure that, can this guy be part of my team? And when we look about being part of my team, that includes 2 things. First, can he do the job? Yes or no. Second, is he a good person that can fit in my team? Good. Sometimes you can find a job you find a person in the interview who's technically okay. He have the skill, he know how to do the server, but he doesn't have the skill to speak to customer. And in my environment, in my help desk as a manager, I need the server guy to talk to the customers. So that guy is not good to talk to the people. So I don't want that guy. So he want to make sure that you can do the job. The co-worker is somebody that you're going to work with, a friend, a colleague that will be in your team. Why do we bring those guys to the job interview? Why don't me, Mr. Manager, interview everybody and make the decisions? Because sometimes I don't know the deep technical stuff. Sometimes I don't know a lot about the technology. Believe it or not, not every manager knows every technology that his team works on. So that's why you'll find a coworker. The coworker just want to make sure that if you are with him, you will not cause him problems. You will not be delaying him. He needs to make sure that you are a good fit to the team as well. Knowing the 3 people, it's something important. So you know how to answer their question and you know what are they looking for. So this is the idea behind me telling you who's going to interview. Is it always going to be 3 persons? No, sometimes 2, sometimes 4, sometimes less, sometimes more. It doesn't really matter. The most important part that you have to remember is make sure you look in the eyes of every one of them sometimes during the interview. Don't ignore anybody, because you never know who's sitting on the table or who's that. Even if he doesn't ask the question, look at his eyes for a few seconds. When somebody asks a question, answer the guy who asked you the question, then turn your face to the other guy, keep talking as if you are talking to him. People love to see that confidence in your eyes, that you are looking at people, that you are talking to them, that you can have this face. Good. Can I ask who's going to interview me? When somebody calls me and says, hey, Mr. Hassan, this is XXY from this company, congratulations, we are going to invite you for a job interview. Yes, you can ask this question. Can I know who I'm going to be interviewed by? It will help me prepare. They can say no, no problem, and they can say yes. So in any way, there is no harm for you to ask the question. Nobody get ever fired or not got to the interview because he asked who's going to interview me. You can ask this question. This will help you prepare yourself. Should I Google them? Yes, why not? Google them. See what do they have? What do they do? Look at their LinkedIn profile if you can reach to that. That will help you understand who are you going to meet. If that guy has worked in different companies, you can at least know who is that guy. So there is no harm of doing this. Okay, so we're done with the introduction. Let's talk about the actual interviews now. So the job interviews will be split into different parts. What do you guys think the job interview parts will be? What are they going to do in the job interview? I'm talking about part, not question. So it's not about what they're going to ask you. What do you think the interview will divide it into parts, like what? Can somebody help?
Self-introduction.
Introduction.
Job introduction.
Good. Job introduction. Good. What else?
Probably some sort of like there's gonna be like in the after the job introduction, there's gonna be some sort of like fact finding, you know, about asking you questions about yourself. You know.
Yeah. Ask you about yourself. Good. Technically, if I want to divide the interview, I will divide it to 5 parts. The first part is the welcome. Good. Introducing yourself, behavior question, technical question, and your question. We will talk about every one of them in the next slide. So it's 5 parts. The first part, the welcome. You will enter the room. Somebody will stand up. Hi, thank you very much for coming, Mr. David. Please have a seat. My name is Hassan. I am the IT manager of blah, blah, blah. This is David. This is Sarah. Good. Try to focus on those few minutes at the beginning. I know you are super nervous. I know you are sweating out of your head and your toes even. I know you don't even know where to sit. So smile, be confident, sit down. When they introduce the guys, just say hi to everybody as they introduce themselves. Try to remember the names, and I'm very bad at that myself, but try to remember the name if you can. Don't be nervous. Good. If the manager, some managers, and I used to do this, when people come, I will start by talking a little bit about my team. So that will give the guy a chance to know what is he applying for. I love to do that. Like, we are here on IT Help Desk, and you're going to be one of my team members. If you join me, you'll work with Nazar and Rahida as part of the support team. Good. Let's start now. So it's nice to hear about it. It's nice to focus to them, because that might give you an idea how to answer the questions if you didn't do that before. The second part is about introducing yourself. He will tell you, most probably they will start up, please tell us about yourself, or walk us through your resume. Give us some details about yourself. This is the part that is the most important part in the job interview. Good. Now I need the volunteer. Anybody of you guys want to volunteer to tell me about himself? I promise you I will not laugh at you. A little bit. I'll just have a nice smile like this. Good. Don't worry about it, guys. You will do it next week with the teachers. Somebody volunteering?
Yes, certainly. I'll
Turkey.
volunteer.
So
Yes.
thank you very much for coming to Turkey today. My name is Hassan. I am the IT manager at the CNN company. And could you please walk me through your resume? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I studied at CNAQ, IT software. They taught me Python and basic programming. I think that's about it.
Good. Anybody else want to volunteer? You know, it's not scary.
Was that good, sir?
We'll talk about it. I don't want the others to be afraid from me if I give you feedback. So let's see somebody else first. Somebody else want to volunteer? Come on, guys, it's a chance. It's a free chance. Make the mistake in front of me now instead of making the mistake in the actual interview. Okay. So let me tell you what you guys have to worry about in this part, or what's going on. And Turkey, I will give you the feedback after I explain what's happening. Good. So introducing yourself is divided into 2 parts. The first part is let them know who you are. And then the second part, walk through your resume. For you guys, as a fresh graduate, you don't have a very long resume to impress them. So you have to focus a lot about introducing yourself. When you want to introduce yourself, you have to sound confident. You have to be very strong when you do this. Your introducing yourself should be about 2 to 3 minutes. And you should talk about the things that you want to highlight. What does that mean? If you are applying for a job as a network engineer, good, you have to talk about the stuff that make you a good network engineer. If you are applying for a job as a help desk guy, you have to talk about the stuff that related to your help desk guy. So for example, I myself had 20 years experience in total, 22 years experience in total. 10 of those, I done it in IT support, IT management, help desk, desktop support team. About another 10 of those, I done it in a teaching, training, developing application, developing programs environment. So I had these two. So when I went out and I applied for Qatar University as help desk leader or help desk manager, good. Which part do you think I spoke about? I have to speak about the part that the 10 years of the experience in the IT management and IT support field. I spoke about my experience with BlackBerry. I spoke about my experience with the Best Buy because that's what my manager wanted to hear there. Now, when I did the job interview here, good, with Mr. Lee, I shouldn't say that now. Okay, I will say it anyway. Mr. Lee want to hear from me what? About my training experience. So I have to tell him different story. I have 20 years of experience. 10 of those years were in developing programs, teaching, working at the university, developing software. You got the point? So make sure when you speak in this, you highlight the stuff that the manager want to hear about it. That's number one. Good. Remember, it has to be a good summary. Number two, you have to memorize it. You have to memorize it before you go. One of the feedback that I'll give to Turkey, and I'm sure all of you will do it, don't do that in the job interview. It's not the time to, especially in that part. You will do a lot of later in the rest of the questions, but this is the part where you should open, click, talk about it. Good. So let's play the game in the opposite way. Good. Hi, my name is Turkey. So I will show you how the perfect answer should be. Good. Hi, my name is Turkey. Thank you very much for inviting me today. I really appreciate the chance. Quick note about myself. I'm 23 years old. I just graduated from College of North Atlantic in Qatar, studying in the IT software program. Please don't use IT software program. Give the other name, the IT application development name. Good. I know we call it here software hardware, but give the other name. So I graduated from the College of North Atlantic. It was very exciting 3 years. You see how I'm sounding? You see how I introduced the first minute? It gives the confidence. It gives the sound. Somebody will tell me, come on, you have 20 years of experience and you can say it. You can say it as well. All what you have to do is practice. Practice, 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 practice until you learn it. Good. One the stuff of I tell my guys, you should, as a fresh graduate, you should record yourself at least 20 times before you actually go to the job interview. Yes, you will look silly, but you have to practice until you get to that strong point. This is what makes the difference in the job interview. For me, as a guy who's going to hire you, there is, mashallah, 60 guys in the 40 guys of you guys now in the chat. You guys will graduate next year, inshallah. Good. So the 40 of you will be there. There will be a position. The 40 of you will apply. So me as Hassan, the manager, is going to interview you. What's the difference between you guys? You guys all graduated from the same college. Yes, Turkey have GPA of 3.7, while Sarah have 3.2. But is that the reason why should I hire Turkey, not Sarah, just because he have 2 points more on her GPA? Of course not. I will need to see more skills. One of the thing is he confident? Is he easy? Is he powerful? So you guys have to have this skill. And the only way to get it is to practice. Put yourself in front of the mobile, record yourself. Don't record yourself in the selfie mode because you'll get distracted. Flip the phone to the other side, hit the record, put it, speak. Then watch yourself. Few times, you will start noticing your mistakes. You should go for the whole 2 minutes in a strong, solid voice. Do I have to do this once? No, you have to do this once for every job. Because remember, the first job is applying as a help desk. So when you're applying as a help desk, you have to say, hi, my name is Turkey. I'm a third-year graduate from College of North Atlantic. I studied for the first 3 years. During my study, I was very excited about the idea of helping people, working with guys, answering questions. In my family, I am the IT guy that anybody in the family call me for troubleshooting their problems. Good. This is because you're applying for a help desk. The help desk, they want you to be a troubleshooting guy. When you're applying for a coding software development coding guy, hi, my name is Turkey. I graduated from the College of North Atlantic 3 years. During those 3 years, I loved coding. Even when I was in high school, I love it. I'm very interested. I enjoyed trying to create a new application or trying to create new features. That's the love of my life. Good. This is what you have to do. You have to present that strong. I hope it's clear for you guys. You have to practice. And the only way to do it right is to practice once, twice, 3, 4 times until you get it done. Good. There is one more thing that you have to keep in mind for you guys as the CNA graduates. Because remember, you are not applying to the job alone. There is a lot of people there. As a student of CNAQ, I'm very glad to tell you that you guys have amazing experience, hand-on experience. Many other graduates, they don't have that experience. I know my friend, when I was studying at Damascus University, we finished the university for 5 years. Most of the guys had used the computer at that time 2 or 3 times in their life. We had theory, a lot of theory stuff, but we don't have practice stuff. You guys had installed servers. You guys had installed router. You guys done router courses. I seen you guys working on Cisco routers with 2, 3 routers. And if you done, you guys, most of you are second year. Next year, inshallah, Mr. Rahuma will smash you in the router stuff. I seen what we did to you, how much work we give you hand-on experience. I have people who doesn't have the experience even after 5 years of college, and even after a few years in the market, they never done this work. Even in the software side, I know how the guys are pushing you hard here. I know how we are torturing you, but that torture that you guys think it's a torture, it's an amazing skill that we give you. You can talk about this in your introduction. Not everybody knows CNAQ. Not everybody understands how is CNAQ different from Qatar University, for example. Good. Not everybody understands that we are giving you hand-on experience that worth sometimes 1 or 2 years of practical work experience. So you have to talk about this. And that's, to be honest, with your situation when you graduate, that's the only thing you can talk about. I studied at the College of North Atlantic. I am not sure if you're familiar with the way the college teaches. It's all hand-on experience. For example, and this is when you can speak about it. For example, if you are applying for a network course, for example, we studied in the college 4 networking courses during those 3 years. We done 2 courses about Cisco routers. We done 1 course about this. We done 1 course about this. During these courses, our teacher were giving us an actual equipment, and we had to build up an actual network. We done a wireless network course that included securing the network, prepping the network, doing this network. You see what I'm talking about? You are talking about what you've done in the network class. And this is something very important to talk about as CNA graduate, because that's what distinguishes you from the rest of the fresh graduate from all the universities in the area. Even the software students, you guys are doing an amazing job. Before I joined CNAQ, a small group of you done a project for me for Qatar University. Within less than 8 weeks, the capstone project, they got me a running application that I could use in my work there. So you have the ability. Good. We did smash you a lot over the last 2 years, and the next year, inshallah, we'll continue doing this for you guys. But that's very good for your benefit. So prepare yourself for that part, how to talk about the university. If you are not sure, if you are confused about it, talk to me, talk to your teachers. We are all here to help you. We can gladly help you. Somebody told me last time, why don't you give us a written example what to say? Because if I do this, you guys will sound like robot in front of the interview, and all of you will repeat the same exact phrase. That's why I didn't write it. Good. I can write it, but if I do that for you, you will all go to the interview and will repeat the same phrase. No, you have to think about it yourself. You have to express about that in your own voice. Hopefully I was clear enough about this part. Good. That's a part of introducing yourself. This is the place, introducing yourself, this is the place where you impress them. And I will be honest with you, in most of the job interviews, I made my decision in those 3 to 5 minutes. Before I ask any other questions, in most of my interviews, not only me, and this is an experience I know from a lot of people, they take the decision within those 3 to 5 minutes. And you can feel it. If you have enough experience like me, based on the number of job interviews that I was on the other side of the table, I could feel that this guy doesn't want to hire me. After I finish those 2 minutes, I can feel he doesn't like me. Or I can feel he liked me. Good. Well, in one situation, I had the guy taking me with him to a meeting while I'm in a job interview. Imagine. He liked me so much, he took me to a meeting. He says, oh, you are here, let's talk to the guy, see what you can give us your feedback about this thing. So you have to have this confidence in yourself. The second part is what we call it behavioral question. This is divided into behavior and situation. They are very similar. There's a small difference between them. We'll talk about it. So what is the behavioral question? This is when they will ask you a question to know how do you react when something happens. So for example, tell me about a time. Give me an example. Tell me a story about something. So he will tell you, tell me about a time when you couldn't finish your work at time. Tell me about a time when you had an employee who always came late. What do you do if you have a special needs customer or whatever like this? So they will ask you these kind of questions. There is a very nice way to remember to answer this question, what we call it STAR. Anyway, don't care about the name. It's give him the situation, what was the story, give him what was supposed to be done, good, give him what did you do, and give him the result. Don't tell him, yes, we had a project in the 3rd year and we couldn't finish it, and I did work hard, and stop. Like, okay, you did work hard, then what happened? Did you finish it or you didn't finish it? Did you get the grade? You didn't get, what happened? So complete the story. So for example, tell me about a time when you had to work with a lazy partner. Good. Tell me about a time when you had to work with a lazy partner. Good. What do you guys think? Anybody want to answer this question for me? Come on. Don't tell me you never had a lazy partner in school. Unless you are the lazy partner. Good. Okay. So let me tell you what's the perfect answer. Not perfect answer. What's an answer like this will be. So we had a course for the IT troubleshooting. In this course, instructor paired us in teams of 2. We both had to build a small office network based on the teacher requirement. So this is the situation, and this is the task. Good. So you told him the situation, and you told him what was supposed to be done. Unfortunately, during the first task, my partner was not very committed. He kept missing sessions. He kept spending time in his mobile. So here is the situation. Here is the lazy partner. Here is the story. So now I know the story. Then, personally, what did you do? I tried to talk to my partner. I tried to see, well, why is he doing this? I wanted to see if I can help. Good. At the same time, I had to make sure that I'm not too much behind on deadline. Good. After all, I still have to deliver. And finally, I updated my instructor that I'm trying my best to work out with my partner. At the end, my partner had some family issue. I helped him carry the load for 2 weeks, and then he started committing and more blah, blah, and then you did the work. Again, you have to, in order for you to answer this question correctly, you have to understand what does your manager want. Why me as Hassan, your manager, asking you this question? I want to see how do you think. Good. I had people answering this for me in the interview. Yes, I had this crazy partner in the school and he doesn't want to work, and I kept nagging on my teacher until my teacher finally put me in my own team. Do you think this is the right answer for this question? I had people telling this in the interview to me. I kept nagging on my teacher until he finally gave up and he put me in my own team, and now I'm alone and I did the perfect project. Like, come on, are you going to nag at me as a manager? Good. Don't tell the story from your hero point of view. As a student, you are a hero. When you convince your manager to take you, you convince your teacher to take you out of the lazy partner, You think yourself a hero, and you will go in front of your friend in the cafeteria. Oh, I made Mr. Hassan get me out of this lazy partner. In the job, in the real life, we don't always have the chance to get you out of this. We don't always have the chance to separate you guys. I'm a manager. I have 4 people. 2 of them are already in the project. I have no choice other than you putting you 2 together. I need to understand that you are flexible. You can do the job for me. You got the point? I'm not discussing this point about the lazy partner itself. I'm just hoping to give you an idea to think, what does my manager want? So always the answer should be, what does my manager want? And that should be your answer. Another sample. Tell me about a time when you didn't meet the deadline. Again, what does the manager want? He doesn't want an answer from you that says, I never done this. I am always done all my project on time. Come on, nobody in the world done everything on time. You always have something that you almost missed, or you actually missed the time. We all are human. We get sick. We get busy. Find the story. Good. Somebody will tell me, how am I going to do this in the interview if he asked me? He will shock me. Where I'm going to bring up this stuff. That's why I have these links for you. And if you go here, there's these links for you. 30 behavioral question, 40 behavioral question, how to nail a behavioral question. All these slides, all these websites have behavioral questions, and they explain to you how to give the best answer for those questions. Good. The idea behind them is very simple. If you end up looking at them, there is only about 10 different possibilities that he can ask you about. 10 different possibilities, that's it. And those 10 different possibilities, they might have, every one of them might have different way of saying the question, but at the end, they are similar. It's very ideal. Tell me about a time when you deal with a customer. Good. How to deal with a customer, how to deal with the project, how to deal with coworkers, how to deal with your managers, how to deal with your own self-management. That's it. What else is going to ask you? He cannot ask you either about your customers, or about your coworker, or about your managers, or about your yourself. Good. Did you ever have an issue yourself, or a weakness yourself, whatever the question is? So if you have the chance, go through these pages, not all of them. You don't have to go through all of them. Go through some of them, look at it, see what the people are thinking. And somebody will tell me, come on, that's so much work. That's the real life. If you want to find a job, you have to be good. If you are not good, you will take the last worst job that left over that nobody took. You have to improve yourself. You have to get this stuff. Clear? So somebody will tell me, I am an entry-level candidate. I'm just finishing school. Where am I supposed to answer this question? Where should I bring stories? You, Hassan, mashallah, have 20 years of experience. You have stories for 50 years. How me as a student can do this? You have stories. You have stories from your school, from your projects, from your exams, from your, what do you call it, capstone project, from your homework. And we are a practical school. We put you with partners. We do a lot of that work with you. Good. That's part of life. And that's part of the work. That's why we do this in our classes. It's not because we like to torture you, guys. We like to torture you. We have a small classroom for the teacher where we agree what to do for the student. No, we do this to put you in the real life situation. So you will have stories like this, and you will have the experience to deal with it in the real life. So before you go to the job interview, look at those questions and think about every one of them, and think about the story from your life that you will tell. Good. Should I lie? Don't lie, man. Honestly, don't make up a story that never existed. Think about it. I'm sure you'll find a story. I'm sure you'll find a story in your life about this. I don't want you guys to make up stories. I'm not encouraging you here to lie about this stuff. We will tell you when to lie. There is places in the CV, on the CV and the interview where you should lie. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. But in this part, don't make up stories. Think about it slowly in your mind. Look back at your days, at your history, and see about this stuff, what the story you could come from. Okay? So this is the behavioral question. So what is the situational question? Situational question is most probably what you guys will get in the interview as a fresh graduate. People will ask you this because you might not have a lot of experience to cover these background stories. So managers might ask you this question: how would you do, or what will you do in this situation? So he will give you a situation, good, imaginary situation, and will ask you, what are you going to do if you find yourself in this situation? This is a trick that the management do to put you in a situation that they face in their real life situation, in everyday life. And he wants to see how you think. Some managers might go a little bit extreme, some managers that might go easy, but at the end, they will ask you a question. So one of the questions is this question that I always ask in my job interview. Good. So tomorrow, inshallah, you will be working with us if mashallah, you join my team. What happens if I told you as your manager, if I told you to do something and I give you the instruction and you think it's the wrong way? Good. So I told you, go install these 5 servers and this network. And after you sit down and you look at it, you think I told you a wrong information. Good. What do you think you should do? This is one of the questions that when I ask, believe me, sometimes I get funny answers from the people. Believe it or not, managers would love to hear back from their employees if they said something wrong. Yes, the image that we know, the picture that we have in our head for managers, that they are dictatorship, that they don't care, that they don't listen, that they don't allow anybody to tell them you are wrong. It's not always true. But again, you have to be polite. You cannot go to your manager and you tell him, you made a mistake. They will fire you. Nobody like that. But you have to be clear about this. This is one of the answers that I love to hear about. First, I have to try to collect as much information as I can. So yes, I think my manager gave me something wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not understanding the total picture. So I will try to collect as much information as I can. And then I will check this information to see what's wrong. Why do I think it's wrong? Now, if I still convince it's wrong, I can check with somebody else in my team. And then finally, I can approach my manager. When I approach my manager, I can say, oh, Mr. Manager, I need to clear something with you. I notice you asked me to get the job done this way, but information that I have suggests we can do it in a better way. You see, it's a polite way to talk to the manager. You are telling him, I think you are wrong, but you are not telling in your face, I think you are wrong. You're giving him this option. Managers love to ask this kind of questions. And again, you guys have to prepare yourself for this question. You have to understand this question. It's not only about lying to the manager. It's not lying, it's learning. When you read these questions, it will teach you how to behave with your manager. In matter of fact, there is a very nice book that I read before called Managing Up. Managing Up, not managing down. Managing down means me as a manager managing my employees. There is a book, very nice book called Managing Your Manager. How to manage your manager. Good, because we need that skill. Your manager is a human. He might make a mistake. He might have a decision that you have a better decision than him. You have to talk to him. You have to find a way to talk to him. Good. Believe it or not, I got it in job interviews before where people will tell me, whatever the manager say, I will say yes. But I told them, Habibi, you know it's wrong. Like it cannot be done. The instruction that the manager gave you cannot be done. The server will fail. Wallahi, he is the manager. He told me, I will say yes. And he'll do like this. What do you mean you say yes? I will not hire somebody who knows that he's doing something wrong and he will do it. At least give me the point. I don't want you to come to fight with me. I don't want to attack my office, but you should come to me and says, as I said, dear manager, I'm looking at this, but I am afraid that it might cause a problem. Good. Maybe the manager knows something that you don't know. He'll explain it to you. Now you are MPs. Maybe he didn't notice it. Oh, really? I didn't know. Good. So this is something that you guys have to be experienced in. And look at this kind of question. Of course, after this slide, there is also a lot of questions similar to this. Okay. So this is the kind, I didn't read it from there. So it's the same thing. So this is the kind of question that you can see how to behave in something like this. So this is another question. Good. What will you do in this situation? A customer dropped his laptop yesterday for 3 software installation. He wants 3 software to be installed in his laptop. Your team yesterday says, yes, we will work on it. Inshallah, it will be ready in the morning. Come pick it up in the morning. He came in the morning, good. And when you want to check, you find out that your team yesterday forget about it. It's still on the table as he left it yesterday. Nobody even touched it. What are you going to do? These kind of situational questions. And again, if you think about it, there is only 10, 15 questions that they could ask you. Good. About customers. What can they ask you about the customer? You made a mistake with the customer. The customer is angry. The customer is upset with no reason. The customer is asking for something that we are not allowed to do. Here is the stuff about customers. This will cover everything. They will ask you a question about your teams. Good. You have one colleague that's always late. What do you do with him? You are working with somebody, a partner, but your partner have zero technical skills and it looks like he's going to delay your project. What are you going to do? Situational question. I gave you a project and for whatever reason, this project, you cannot hit the deadline. What do you do? Good. You cannot finish it. It was supposed to finish by June 15. You cannot finish it. What do you do? Good. All these kind of questions are questions that are possible in the job interview. You need to learn these stuff. These stuff are the soft skills. Look until now, we never spoke technical. We are not talking about any servers, installation, programming, coding. We are talking about situational and behavior question and soft skill. This is something very, very important for the managers. And in many situations, they are more important than the technical skills. And we had this discussion with many people before. They told me very simple. I can teach someone how to install Windows Server, but I cannot teach him how to be polite. That's his parents' job over 15 years or 20 years to teach him how to become a polite person. If somebody is rude, I cannot make him a rude guy. It's too hard headache for me as a manager. If I hire somebody and he find out him that he doesn't know very well Exchange Server, I can't teach him Exchange Server. Good. So this is something very important in the job interview, especially for a fresh graduate. They will look at this personality. Right now, for example, this week, I'm working on a small project for the university. My part of my project asking a lot of business people, a lot of IT managers about, are they willing to hire fresh graduates? And believe it, one of the guys told me, I prefer to hire a fresh graduate. I told him, why? Why don't get somebody with experience? He says, if I hire a fresh graduate, he is active, he wants to learn, he is open-minded, he is not like a robot who sat behind the table doing the same exact job for the last 15 years. It will be too hard to let him convince to change his ways. I love to work with fresh graduates. I told him, so what do you care? He said, I want him to be open-minded. I want him to have a smart. I want him to be active. I want him to be loving the job. I told him, what about his technical skills? He said, it's not a big deal. He did 3 years college. I'm sure he has some technical skills. That's a guy who ran a security team in one of the big government organizations here in Qatar. He told me, I prefer the good guy with personal skill than technical skill. So that's why these questions are very critical for you to answer them right. Good. Fourth part, technical questions. Of course, they will ask you technical questions. For sure, they will ask some technical questions. Imagine, managers and co-workers need to know about your technical skills. They need to know if you are able to do the job. Good. Can you know it all? Come on, nobody knows it all. I am a manager, I don't know it all. Mr. Lee, our man, he doesn't know it all. Nobody knows it all. Good. They need to know that you have at least the minimum requirement to do the job. Will they ask me questions that I don't know the answer for? Yes, definitely they will ask you questions that you don't know the answer for. Why? Because remember, he will put 10 questions. Good. From easy to very, very difficult. You might be able to answer 5 of those questions. Me with 20 years experience, I might be able to answer 10 of those questions. Somebody might be able to answer 6. That doesn't mean he will hire me and will not hire you, because again, technical is a small part of the job. And I had this before at Qatar University. I interviewed somebody who really good technically, but I didn't hire him because I found that he is very rough and very rude person. I told the guy, I will hire this guy if I have a room to lock him inside it and never talk to people. I will hire him. But I will never hire him to work in my team because my team have to talk to people 50 times of the day. And if he's this aggressive, he will cause more trouble than work. And I went with somebody else who were really nice, really lovely, talking, chatting, smiling, active, and we taught him some of the technical stuff that he needs. So as a fresh graduate, don't worry. They understand that you are a fresh graduate. They understand that you don't know stuff. So somebody will tell me, what if they ask me something that I don't know? Good. We already done here. So we as CNAQ, we already give you enough technical skills. We give you hand-on experience. That's fine. And it's okay to say, I don't know in the interview. You will not lose the job because you said, I don't know. Don't say it, I don't know. You can take it easy. Good. So here is an example. Can you tell me what's the difference between security group and distribution? Good. Start, give yourself give yourself a minute. And then you don't know the answer. I will be honest with you, I don't recall the exact details now. I'm not sure about the exact details now. If I still remember it as part of my server course, it's about how to give permission and how to give access to the student, but I don't know the exact details. I'm sure it's not that complicated. I can remember it, or I can Google it quickly and I can find it out. Good. You give him an idea that you have an idea what is it, but I don't know everything. Good. Somebody will tell me, what should I do? How do I prepare myself for this part? Here is the part, where is it? Sorry. Here. So to prepare yourself for this, before you go to the job interview, make sure you read the job role very carefully. So if you are applying for a job, before you go to the interview, go read the job description. Now, when you are reading the job description, you will find what do they want you to do in that job. When you look at what do they want you to do, there will be some tasks there. So definitely they will ask you technical questions about these tasks. So if you are applying for a role, for a job to become a system administrator, you look at the job description, it says system administrator who have the ability to work on Windows computers and Linux, Windows Server and Linux Server. So that means they will ask you questions about Windows Server, they will ask you questions about Linux Server. They will ask you questions about creating users and permission in Windows Server. They will ask you some question about Linux Server. Somebody will tell me, really, Linux? Come on, Hassan, we suffer enough in that course. Go, sit down, review it. He is not hiring an expert Linux server administrator position. Otherwise, he will ask for that in the job description, that you have to have this Red Hat Linux certificate. He doesn't want that genius. He just wants somebody who's familiar with Linux, who can have the skill. And you can see from the job. Go sit down and review it. Review your information about Linux. Remember the stuff that you don't know about Linux. Review it. Watch a few videos, watch a few stuff, read a few things, refresh yourself before you go to the job. Good. Somebody will tell me, Hassan, you make looking for a job is a really, really hard thing. It's a hard thing. It's not easy. Believe me, finding a job, it's a job by itself. Good. And remember, you only have to do it one time right. Once you do it one time right, you are safe for the next 2-3 years before you start doing it again for the next job. And again and again. Somebody will tell me, come on, Hassan, how many times I have to do this? Believe me, I done this too many times. Good. I've done it like 5 times, 6 times in Syria, about 8 times in Canada, and 2 times here in Qatar. And I don't want Mr. Lee to learn this. I'm still doing it until now. I'm always looking for a new opportunity. I'm always looking what I'm going to do next in my life. From now, I'm thinking what will happen to me in 3 years from today when either they fire me or I leave. Where should I go? And I'm looking at that from today. Imagine I'm looking at that. So that's how life works. That's how you prepare yourself. Good? So, technical question. There is some few very important notes. Number 1, don't ever, sorry. I lost that slide. Okay. So for the technical question, don't invent stuff, please. Good. Please don't start creating new technology in the interview. People will catch you immediately. Remember, those guys are experts. You are not talking to your friend in the majlis that he is studying business and you have no idea what you are doing in technology and you start giving him imaginary stuff. I had people doing this to me in the job interview. I will ask him, have you heard, do you tell me about the DMZ server? And he will be like, DMZ, yes, I know about this. Is the digital metering zoology server, and it's used to monitor the traffic under the firewall security. Like, what are you talking about? Good. Remember, I'm asking the question, so I should know about it. Don't invent stuff. Don't try to bring stuff out of your brain. Okay? So I will give you a funny story. I'm not sure if the guys who did this to me is here with us. So last semester, I had a course, the CV 2100. In the CV 2100, in my course, I asked my student to go to Carrefour and select for me 2 laptops. Good. And come try to sell it to me. I am their lovely cousin or lovely uncle, and ask them to recommend the laptop to me. And they come to me and they will start telling me about the laptop features. So one of the guys brought me a laptop, and the laptop have something written, I forget what was it, X1 something on the network wireless card. And I told him, what is this? And he was like, oh, this is the new technology for the Wi-Fi to connect to the 5G. And like, come on, dude, don't start. I told him, like, are you sure? He says, yes, yes. The salesman at Carrefour told me this. And he insisted about that invention that he made. And of course, I catch him from the first second, dude. I've been in this 20 years. Like, come on, you cannot lie to me on this stuff. Don't do that in the job interview, please. So be careful about this stuff. It's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to do that. Good. The last part of the job interview, your questions. At the end of the job interview, the manager will ask you, do you have questions for us? Good. So they ask you about yourself. They ask you technical question. They ask you behavioral question. They're done. They ask you now, do you have questions for us? Never, ever say no. If you say no, it makes you look like you don't care about the job. We always have questions. You always should ask questions. In matter of fact, you should ask 2 or 3 questions. Definitely, you should ask 2 or 3 questions. Good. In our area, can you talk about money? But don't start with that. Here in the Middle East area, you can talk about money, but never start your first question about money. Good. In Canada, we don't talk about money. In Canada, they make a red flag if you talk about money. You talk about money with HR, not with your manager. Good. So you don't ask that in Canada. Here in the Middle East, it's a different story. You can ask about the salary, no problem. You can ask about the benefit, no problem. You can ask whether they give you car or allowance, no problem. But you don't start with that question. Otherwise, they will care about how that guy only care about money. Avoid the question that starts with why. Good. Why are you doing this? Why do you have 5 guys in the team? These questions make the manager feel that he has to explain himself to you and explain his behavior to you, and it make him look like you know more than him and you are like questioning his decisions. People don't like that. Don't ask these questions. Don't say something, can I come late or can I leave early? Don't ask these questions, guys. Please. Good. We are all human. Good. We are all human. We are all come late sometimes. We are all have to leave early sometimes. We are all have to go to doctors. We are all have to do this stuff, but don't ask about it in the job interview. I got people in the job interview said, I got a lady once in Qatar University, she was an interview, said, how many times I can come late a month before you guys give me a punishment from HR? I told them, never worry about this. You don't have to worry about it at all. Thank you very much. If she is in the interview, ask me how many times a month I can late before you get me, what she's going to do when she get hired. Good. So don't ask these questions. Now, if you have a special circumstances that are logical, for example, if you are somebody with a special need, if you are somebody that have a son with a special need, or something really, really good, you can ask your manager about this, or it's better to talk to the HR about it, not to your manager. After the interview, you can ask that question to the HR person and says, what is your policy in regard to the special need people? Can I have this situation? I have a very special situation that might cause this to me. What can I do for you? Good, but don't start with that kind of question. How soon do you promote employees? How soon you give me salary increase? Don't ask these questions. Good. Don't ask about confidential information. Good. Don't tell them where is your servers, where is your stuff. So somebody will tell me like, come on, how many don't. What should I ask then? Good. Here is what you should ask about. Good. Can I have a roughly idea about how the team work? That's a question that is not confidential and shows that you are interested in the team. You should always start with something like this. Can you tell me more about the team? But remember, if he already told you about the team in the first part when he welcomed you, don't ask the question again. That will make you look not very nice guy. Can you tell me more about the team? How many guys in the team right now? Good. That's a very valid question. What's the responsibilities of my team? If I join you guys, inshallah, what's the responsibility of my team? Good. Is the work task rotated in the team or it's specified per people? And that's a good question. I love to ask this question. And I ask this question in my interviews all the time. Am I going to be responsible for a specific thing only and Muhammad for something and Sarah for something? Or are we going to rotate on these tasks? Good. For example, if you're applying for a server, for a system admin, are you guys expecting me to be like an exchange guy just running the exchange server? Or we will be like doing some exchange on some Active Directory and some Linux and some. How do you guys work as a team? These kind of questions are fine. You can ask about your development. How can I grow in the company? But never tell them when are you going to promote me? Or when are you going to give me salary increase? Don't ask this question. You can ask it in a different way. Good. I am very patient about this. I'm very passionate. Sorry, I wrote it wrong. I'm very passionate about this field. I always love to gain more experience and more skills. Can I know how this company helped the employee grow? Can I know if I join you guys, what are you guys going to do to help me improve my skill? I didn't ask for increase of money. I didn't ask for another position. I'm asking, how can you guys help me become a better IT guy? This is a very nice question. It's very polite. It's very respectful. It shows that you have passionate. It shows that you have wish to work. Good. Something like this. What will my day look like? Good. So if I work with you, how is my day going to look like? What kind of work, what kind of task I'm going to work about? You see how things goes here? Good. This is the stuff that you can ask. This is not the stuff that you can ask. The most important things, always prepare 4 or 5 questions before you go to the job interview. Prepare 4 or 5 questions. Good. Never get surprised. Never get to the point where let me wait, let me think. Prepare yourself. Read the job description. That will give you an idea about the tasks. Go read a little bit about the company. A little bit. I don't want you to become expert in the company, but it's not good to go for a job interview and you don't know if those guys are a factory chocolate or a milk chocolate or a milk factory. You need to know what are they doing. So go read a little bit about them if you can before you go there. So at least you will have some idea about what they are doing. That will help you ask the right questions. Good. So these are the questions that you could ask. Why will they ask me? Okay. Yeah. There is one question that they will ask you at the end. They might ask you. This is one of the tricky questions. Your weaknesses. Good. Why they will ask me about that? Why they will ask me about my weaknesses? Good. The managers want to know, what are you evaluating yourself? What do you think about yourself? Can you assess your current talent? It will help me as a manager know what do you think about yourself. Good. You should select a weakness. Don't tell them I have no weakness. Good. And don't be like those ladies who participate in the or those guys on the TV shows, the actors who say, my weakness is that I have a very good heart and I love everybody and I trust everybody and they crush my heart. That's not for a job interview. Good. That's for Facebook, crazy Snapchat, talk thing. In the real life, find a weakness. Good. But don't find a weakness that prevents you from doing the work. Good. You are applying for a job to be like to carry boxes and fill boxes in the store. What is your weakness? My back hurt me. Hey, your back hurt you. What are you doing here? You cannot do this. You're applying for a job as a truck driver. What's your problem? Wallahi, when I sit behind the wheel for like 1 hour, I don't see the road. That's definitely not the right job for you. Find a job related to the job, and that will not preventing you from doing the job. Also find a weakness that will help that it can be fixed. So what is the weakness? For example, I apply for a position as a customer service representative. Good. It's best not to mention that you are not comfortable talking to people. I'm applying for a help desk. Don't tell them my weakness, I don't like talking to people. Like, what are you doing in this position? Good. However, you can mention something like something that you can easily fix. So for example, you can say something, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I have some weaknesses in the Exchange server. I'm not applying for an Exchange server course, I'm applying for the help desk position. Help desk position is not a server, is not the help desk server. I have a problem with this. I really wish I could listen more, or I really wish I focused more on those classes, but I think I can catch that up and I learn that up. Look about your weaknesses. Here is a link that will show you hundreds of weaknesses that are logical, that can be done, and that can talk about it. Good. And again, look at something that is real in you. Don't invent stuff. People will easily catch it if they know that you are lying and inventing stuff. They will catch you up, and this is really bad for you. Okay? Good. Okay, so look, help desk position. Always wait for a few seconds before the answer. Even if you know the answer of your weakness, don't just start throwing it away. Wait for a few seconds. During our study at CNQ, we studied courses about Active Directory. And even though I had a good skill and understanding, but honestly, I wish I focused more. I believe I should be able to develop this skill and improve my experience with Active Directory. You see, this is what I was talking about, how you can improve your weaknesses or how you can manage your weaknesses. Okay, this is more links that you can do. Good. Now I need a couple of volunteers. Can a couple of you guys pick up the microphone, please? Come on, I will choose. Yeah, Turkey.
Yes. Hello.
Somebody else. Come on. Somebody else. Sometimes in the interview, there will be a stupid question. A stupid question. Good. Turkey, where are you right now?
I'm at home.
Good. You are in your room?
Yes, I am in my room.
So how many tennis balls? You know the tennis ball? The yellow tennis ball? How many tennis balls you need to fill up your room?
I mean, what's the surface area of a tennis ball? I don't know. Like 100 maybe? I don't know.
So what do you guys think? Is it a stupid question? It is a stupid question.
I would say it's quite a quite the question.
So first of all, why do we managers ask stupid questions? There is multiple reasons for this. I ask this tennis ball question every time in every interview. And believe me, this question helped me to know the people a lot. Look, in the real life, not everything you can plan. People will ask you something that you don't know. People in the meetings, tomorrow, inshallah, you guys will become a server manager or an IT manager or a supervisor or an IT technician. You will be sitting in a meeting in front of the president of the organization that you are working in and a few other people in the meeting, the HR director and the finance director. And the HR director will turn his face at you, and out of nowhere, he will ask you, what happened to this project? And you have no idea. Good. You need to be able to have the ability to think and answer politely in a respectful way. Good. That's why we ask those kind of sudden question or unexpected question. This question have no right answer. It just we want to see how will you react when somebody shocks you. Good. You see, one of the questions, for example, that the answer that Turkey, and against Turkey, sorry, I'm not hitting at you. Please don't consider that I'm hitting at you. Believe me, I do that to my students in the class all the time, and I hit at them more because I see them face to face. But
It's
now I
fine,
don't
sir.
want to be very mean. Good. One of the questions is Turkey did wrong. He says maybe 100. Good. Don't give estimate unless you are sure about the estimate. Because if I go now and I order 100 tennis ball and I find out that they can only fit the tiny corner, it's not enough. And don't give me 50,000 answer, because if I order the 50,000 and the room only need 2,000, what I'm going to do with the 45,000 left? Good. Believe it or not, I had this problem in business before. People in the meeting and they ask one of my team, how much you need to get this done? And the guy has no idea. And you go like, maybe 50,000 riyal. And the guy like, okay, he do his budget. He come to me when I was on vacation or something. He come to me and said, Hassan, I need 50 laptops and here is 50,000 riyal. Habibi, who told you this? He says, Sami says, like, Habibi, Sami, how did you tell him? He says, I guess. Habibi, it's not guessing, it's business we are running. You got the point? So when they ask you a shocking questions like this, don't freak out. Remember, this question is there to test your reaction. Do you know the question that they asked me when I got hired at BlackBerry? Good. My manager at BlackBerry asked me this question. Do you know the manhole in the street? Those manhole, the one that they have where the electricity and the phone, that round hole in the street. You know it? That we call it the regar or whatever, manhole in the street. So he asked me, why are the manhole in the street? You know this? These ones? So he asked me, why is it round? That's what he asked me in the job interview. He asked me, why is the manhole in the street round? I tell them, honestly, based on my experience, not all of them are round. I know some of them are square. I've seen that before. But that's something for a civil engineer to decide. If you want me to give you an answer right now, I will assume something like, I think it's more stable to become round than circle, but honestly, I'm not sure. If you are forcing me to give you an answer, I will tell you that answer. But I wouldn't give an answer for something like this. I will call one of my engineers' friend and ask him, why do they make it round instead of a square? But I've seen it square. I have one in front of my house, it's square. And he laughed. And then after we worked together, and I asked, why did you ask me this question? He says, I just want to know if you are going to lie to me. And he says, and I've seen it whenever I ask this question, people say, yeah, it will provide more balance to the amount of water leakage that goes inside the drain hole. Like, where did you come this from? Okay, so that's the idea behind it. Good. I'm sorry. Good. So this is a roughly idea about how to do a job interview. Believe me, guys, it will take a lot of time for yourself to prepare. It's not easy. Next week, I know we don't give you enough time until next week when you have to do your job interview, but prepare yourself as much as you can. If you get out of this job interview with one thing today about how to introduce yourself and you've done it right, that will be amazing. If you can do this right between now and next Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever your supervisor will ask you to do the job interview with him. If you can do the introduction right, that will be amazing. And please, please, please try not to do a lot of in that part. Prepare yourself, listen to yourself, record yourself, and do it. Believe it or not, I love to play this game with my student in my class. Every time I teach a class, I will pick up on somebody and I'll tell him, stand up, introduce yourself to me. And like, we are very talkative people. We love to talk. All of you guys are very chatty. But when I ask you a question like this and you start, it will get done. Good. Somebody told me, somebody's asking me in the chat, you didn't tell us about when can we lie in the job interview. You always have to lie in the job interview, but a white lie, not a dead killing lie. You know how once you guys get married, you are not married yet. I'm sure the teachers here will agree with me. You have to lie to your wife. When my wife asks me, how do you think the meat is done? I always like, amazing, excellent, good. That's a skill that you have to master if you want to be happy in your life after you get married. Okay, same thing in the job interview. When your manager asks you about something in the job interview, you have to focus on the stuff that he wants to listen about. I don't call it lying, honestly, but you show him the skills that matter to your job, to the job that you will do with them. If you are a guy who loves to work to play football, good. This will be nice to talk about it because football is something that a sport team. But instead of saying my hobby is playing football, you can say it in a way, you know what? I'm the guy who always organized the football game. I'm the guy who book up the soccer field. I'm the guy who emailed everybody and schedule it and work with the guys to make sure that we have a plan and we make sure we have enough players. You see what I'm talking about here? It's the same exact phrase, but to change it from I love football to convert it to a way of saying, I know how to plan stuff. I know how to work on stuff. And again, if you don't do planning stuff for football, don't lie. Find something else that you actually do. This is something that will help you a lot in the job interview. Find something that you are good at and find something that you've done in your life related to what they are asking and use that one. Good. Find it and use it. Find that skill and use that skill to work in your life, whether it's a skill, an experience, a volunteering job. One last thing before we end up. As a fresh graduate, you guys don't have enough work experience when you leave here. And this is something bad, unfortunately. You guys are supposed to do a work term, a real work term. The work term will give you some real life experience, but unfortunately, you missed that important part. Good. You need to gain some experience. And in my advice to all of you, focus on one of two things. If you can get a volunteering job in your field, in your specialty, as a coder, as a website developer, as a mobile application developer, do it. If you cannot get that job, go find a job, a volunteering job that will let you talk to people. Find a volunteering job that will help you deal with people, because that's a very critical skill that all of you should have. We do our best to teach you this here, but no matter how we work, you have to have the experience of life. Go find a volunteering job that deal with customers. Somebody will tell me, where can I find a volunteering job that deal with IT customers? They don't have to be IT customers. Good. Find a job to work in any field as long as you talk to people. For example, you know now these vaccination centers. The Red Cross is looking for volunteers. In that area, there is volunteers who work in the background on a computer entering data. Nice, cute, but it doesn't help you for looking for a job. What you tell them, I sit back on the computer alone in a room and I was entering data for 10 days. So what? You know how to type on the keyboard. But if you go and find a job standing in the front door, or standing at the information desk, or standing at the registration desk, my job was helping guests coming to the vaccination center. Work with them, check if they have any question for me and help them in their answer. Organizing their entrance, organizing their leaving, checking their health card. And if he doesn't have his health card renewed, I will help him renew it. And you say it in the job interview. I choose that volunteering job to get the customer service experience. Because remember, you don't have a job. When he asks you, walk me through your resume, you don't have 5 years experience at BlackBerry like me to brag about. But you can use this volunteering job. Go find a volunteering job that will give you that skill to talk about. Good. There is a nice joke that somebody told me. 2 retired people met in the coffee, and one of them asked his friend, what are you doing after retirement? He told him, I am busy processing the metal equipment with high pressure heat liquid. And the other guy told him, oh, great. You know what I'm doing? He told him, what? Then my wife make me do the dishes, but I don't know how to say it in a fancy way like you. Good. They both were doing the dishes, but one of them said it in a fancy way. Find this volunteering job and learn how to talk about it. Find what is the strengths that you have at CNAQ and learn how to talk about it. if you guys done the CB 2100 course with me or with Mr. Sean, you know how much headache we give you. But if you look at it after you finish the course and you pass the course, you will find out that we were doing this on purpose. We were doing this on purpose to give you the living, real life environment. This is something that you can brag on the job interview. You can tell them in the job interview, if you're applying for a help desk, of course, not if you are applying for a coder. This is not related to code. If you're applying for a help desk position, you tell them, we had a course in the College of North Atlantic. It was for IT troubleshooting. I worked in that with our teacher. He gave us a real life situation. He wasn't even allow us to call him a teacher at that time. He was the customer in the classroom. He was Mr. Forky. He asked us to build up a network for him. And he used to work in our table and tell us, oh, this is not okay for me as a customer. And he was a really mean customer. And he was pushing us to do the work in time. But the course was a lot of benefit. He make us feel how is the work with customers is, how the work with the real life is. What's the deadline mean to the customer? You know how I'm saying this about the course? Again, I can write it and I give it to you, but I don't want you guys to sound like parrots and repeating work. Think about it this way. Same way about the Wi-Fi course. You guys done the Wi-Fi course or you're going to do it next semester? The Wi-Fi course that you do here is amazing. I'm telling you, people doesn't do it even when they go study the Cisco courses. They don't do it in the way you guys do it here with those routers. And I've seen them all the time in the corridor with like having their switches and routers and running from one location to another location. And they're trying to hack themselves and hijacking the Wi-Fi signal. I don't know what those guys do. It's very fun. People doesn't do that. You have to talk about it in the job interview if you are applying for a network position. Good. Same thing with the software student. We are giving you projects. We are making things complicated for you. We are asking you to do crazy stuff. Again, find a nice way to talk about it. If you are not sure, talk to your teacher. Talk to the network teacher, talk to your software teacher, talk to your mobile application teacher, web development teacher. Tell them, how will you explain this as a show off in the job interview? This is the only strength of point you guys have in the next year or two to get yourself to job interview. Talk about your courses in a very nice, exciting way. Talk about your volunteering job in a very nice, exciting way. Good. Being boring, nobody cares about boring people in the job interview. People hate that. Good. Please, hopefully that was useful for you guys. Hopefully things are good about those stuff. I'm not sure how much beneficial this is, but if you guys are okay with it, I will publish this recording tonight, inshallah. Let me stop the recording now. It's enough.